Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a Bitcoin update. Thankfully, we have seen some upwards price action for Bitcoin. It's great to see after a long period of time of just Bitcoin behaving like a pure stablecoin. I mean, we literally had, if we zoom in very closely here, we literally had a period of time for about 48 hours where Bitcoin was stuck within a range of literally 1%. Okay, that lasted a long period of time, literally 48 hours. We finally started edging upwards. We've got a nice little cup formation here. We're going to be discussing off of a critical support zone. Perhaps this bounce will result in something larger. Perhaps this bounce will be the bounce that takes us to all-time highs. We're going to analyze that question very closely. What other levels you need to be looking at? What are the things you need to be watching right now? What is likely to happen next? All these things are going to be discussed today. So ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the actual content itself, just one quick little thing here. The VIP group on Telegram. We trade altcoins 4 to 5 times a week on the VIP group. You also get access to a group chat where you can discuss the market with other members openly. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested in altcoin trading signals. If not, no problem. Don't check it out. The link's down below. Let's get into the content here today. All right, let's start by just outlining the key levels of this range. So we'll start with a fresh chart here. We'll get it done very quickly. First key level is down here at around 61,000, okay? That is the monthly candle all-time high from the 2021 bull market. Let's flip through to the monthly chart quickly and take a look. We can see very clearly here, if we get the monthly chart up, there it is. From the 2021 bull market, the all-time high was very clearly at that $61,000 level. It also acted as a brief support zone here, brief resistance zone. It's currently kind of got too messy. But if we zoom into the short-term charts, that monthly candle level from a 2021 bull market is very much remaining a tried and true and tested level. Flipping into the shorter-term charts, you can see that basically every single bounce we've seen, sorry, it took a very long time to load there. Every single bounce we've seen in this range, except for one, has been, triggered from that $61,000 level. The one bounce that deviated below the $61,000 level was a very important macro bounce, and that deviation was justified. In fact, it was predicted on this YouTube channel. We predicted a 57K retest up here at 70K on around April 12th. And when that 57K retest happened, I was not saying the range was broken. The range was still intact. I always saw it as a deviation. The reason why I saw it as a deviation is because if we look at the macro charts, there's quite a lot going on, or there was quite a lot going on in the 57K region. There was a 13-year long ascending support line on Bitcoin that lined up perfectly at $57,000, okay, roughly at $57,000, including, in conjunction with the bull market support band and in conjunction with the Pi cycle center lines. And on top of that, it was also in conjunction with a very major monthly candle RSI support zone at 66 on the RSI, which we perfectly backtested on that 57K retest. So that 57K breakdown that we saw, the brief little breakdown below 61K, which again was the important level of this range, was a justified deviation. And I do not actually consider it part of this range. I consider it a justified deviation, especially considering all of the important levels that were once at that 57K level that we retested have now moved upwards to 61K. Given that fact as well, I'm mainly looking at 61K as the fundamental support zone for the entirety of this range. Let's actually go into the 12-hourly chart so we can get a clearer view of this chart here. We can actually see the candlesticks this way. So 61K, in my opinion, is the bottom of the range, not 57. Again, that was a justified deviation. This means that if we do drop below 61K, I will be very fearful on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole. If we drop below 61K, we'll not only be dropping below this actual range itself, which we've been seeing for 3 months now, we'd also be dropping below the critical levels that led to the bottom at 57K, right? The levels that led to the bottoming out of that justified deviation at 57K. So for me personally, my invalidation zone for the Bitcoin bull market, for the cryptocurrency bull market, is 61K. As long as we're above 61K, I don't see any problems with the macro scenario. However, I don't want to go that low because we do have a medium-term level in between here and there. And that medium-term level is around 67,000. It's a vague level. It's around 67,000. You could say it goes all the way down to 66.4, all the way up to 77.3, but it's around the 67K level. I'm going to make that pink so you can see it right there. That is very clearly where we found resistance in this part of the range. So we had this kind of inverted head and shoulders pattern, which led to that justified deviation. And we found found that pink level at 67k as resistance. So every time we tried to get back up for air on Bitcoin, we got knocked back down by the 67k level and jumped back down into a further correction. We've finally gotten above that level, which was the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we flipped it for support. So this is an excellent kind of price range consolidation we're seeing for Bitcoin over the last couple of weeks. You know, Bitcoin's been stagnant, it's been acting like a stable coin, but fundamentally, the consolidation we've been seeing on this support level at 67k has actually been very bullish. It's a very clear sign. It's basically just Bitcoin telling us that, hey, look, this level that used to be a resistance is now very strong support. And the fact that we've been riding it for 3 weeks now, basically 3 weeks, okay, 2 weeks, let's say, 2 weeks, and we haven't dropped below it is a really good sign. And it's showing us that level is very, very strong and it can hold up and it's sturdy and it has held up. And now finally, we're seeing a positive reaction, an actual positive reaction from that support level that could materialize into a bounce further to the upside. But the problem is, it's not really a problem, but the reality is nothing's really happened yet. Okay, unfortunately, nothing's really happened yet. Yes, we've seen good price action over the last 24 hours, or even the last 6 hours, really. This is when the moves really occurred. We've seen some positive price action. We saw Bitcoin climbing about $1,000 in a matter of 10, 15 minutes. But fundamentally speaking, the critical resistance zone we're facing actually still kind of stands. And that is the level right here that I've just outlined. It sits between around 71.3K and around 72K. That is the critical resistance we're finding here. Now, I'm not actually considering the proper all-time high at 73K as the top of this range. Personally, I'm actually not doing that. I'm considering, again, this red rectangle, the top of the range. I believe this was a deviation to the upside. I believe for all intents and purposes, the major resistance zone, okay, the resistance zones that actually matter in this Bitcoin range stop at around 72K. I believe that once we cross 72K, there is nothing stopping Bitcoin from crossing 73K, right? So I don't believe that this little all-time high wick that we had for 2 days is much of a resistance zone whatsoever. I believe the majority of the resistance stems from this red rectangle, and we are yet to cross that. We're yet to get above that red rectangle. So Bitcoin, unfortunately, you know, it's not really unfortunate, it just hasn't happened yet. I believe it will happen. Hasn't made enough progress yet to consider any sort of difference to this medium-term price range. Again, the longer-term price range is between 61 and 72. The medium-term price range is between the pink line and the red rectangle, and we're still hovering in between those two things. Luckily, though, we have sprung upwards from the pink line, and so our next retest will be the red rectangle, most likely. And so we'll have another attempt on Bitcoin to kind of break this level. Given all the macro indications, given the perfect bottom we saw at 57, given everything we've spoken about in this YouTube channel for the last few weeks in terms of predictive formulas, predictive price action, what's happened in previous cycles, bring it forward to this cycle and extrapolating it, given all of that, Bitcoin is primed to move upwards and break all-time highs. It's a matter of when, not if, really. That's kind of the situation we're in. And I'm talking from a historical perspective, right? So let's just clarify here. If we go to the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap, and this, again, this is a chart I've looked at so many times in the last basically month. We go to the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap and we compare what's happened this cycle so far to what happened in the last cycle. We can see very, very clearly, let's zoom in so we can see it here, that we are copying the same 5-step pattern in this cycle to what we saw last cycle, okay? So last cycle we had this 5-step pattern. The first step, let me just clear out these blue lines here that I had from yesterday. The first step was finding the bear market bottom. The second step was going upwards for our first kind of bear market resistance zone retest. The third step was breaking that zone and seeing consolidation. The fourth step was our final correction, our final consolidation before the parabolic bull market. And the parabolic bull market was the 5th step. All right, we've got the exact same structure, step by step, exact same structure playing out here. We're on the 4th step, meaning that the next move should be the parabolic bull market that breaches all-time highs in this chart. That's just very simple historical extrapolation. Now, when I say that, you know, Bitcoin is primed to break all-time highs, Bitcoin is primed to move upwards very soon, and it's a question of when, not if, I'm saying that in the historical context. If you're bringing the last cycle's performance and extrapolating it to this cycle, that becomes a question of when, not if. Now, obviously, in reality, there is a chance that we do go downwards and everything's ruined and we enter a bear market. But given the fact that the only thing we have to go off on Bitcoin is the charts, and the charts being historical data, it becomes logical for us to assume that that will be the case. That's just very simple basic analysis. I mean, if you don't trust charts, then you shouldn't be watching a TA channel. If you trust charts, you need to trust charts, okay? And the charts are very clear. The charts say that Bitcoin is on the edge of a parabolic bull market, and the same thing can be said about the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. And given what the charts are saying, until proven otherwise, we need to act as though that will be the case. That's the simple reality. Now, that doesn't mean that you jump all of your entire net worth into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You sell your house, you sell your car, you sell your wife, and you get everything into crypto. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that given the historical data, it is logical to assume that this is what's going to happen next. Now, that's not a 100% certainty, but it's the logical assumption that we can make. There's no argument we can make based on historical data that Bitcoin will go down here. If Bitcoin goes down here, that will be a deviation from the historical data. So very important distinction. But you guys know all this by now. This is stuff we've talked about plenty of times. I'm just really giving you this video update to show you that Bitcoin has finally made a bounce off the 67K level. There's really not much else to say about it. The bounce hasn't really progressed much yet. But I do expect retests of this red rectangle at some point over the next few days. That's my personal expectation on Bitcoin. There are a few critical lines to look at. For example, we go to the Bitcoin daily chart, we can see these lines start to kind of be drawn out. For example, a descending resistance line right here, very clearly showing us that if we zoomed in, we could see that this wick back here, by the way, is a clean retest. There is just some deviation from the all-time high. Fact of the matter is, we've got this descending resistance line, which we need to break to the upside. Breaking that resistance line would again line up with a break of the red rectangle. But more importantly, what I'm looking at here on the daily chart is actually the daily chart RSI. The daily chart RSI has a very important resistance line. And this daily chart RSI resistance line, if it is to break, it will break sooner than a break of the red rectangle and the yellow line in the price chart. So what I'm actually watching for Bitcoin mainly is this RSI line. Because if this RSI line breaks, that will front run the breakout of the red rectangle and the yellow line in the price chart. So this RSI line could very well predict a breakout above the red rectangle before it happens. So it's very important to watch that RSI line. If that RSI line breaks, and Bitcoin's still down here below the red rectangle, you can expect that red rectangle to break as well, most likely, right? So that's what I'm looking at right now. If you want some insight into what specifically I'm watching on the Bitcoin charts, but mostly it is just a game currently of observation and waiting, and patience has really been the name of the game for the last 2 weeks. Nothing's changed on medium term. Nothing's changed on long term. In fact, not really much has changed on short term either. We're just waiting and seeing. But the only thing that's changed between last video and this video is Bitcoin has seen a small bounce, and we need to be paying closer attention over the next few days because that bounce very well could materialize into another retest of this red level. And in my opinion, that is likely to lead to a breakout if that is the case. So, you know, again, just observation, not really many decisive conclusions to be made here. Nothing's really changed. But just giving you an update on the situation because I reckon you guys probably want to see it anyway. So let me know what you think about the Bitcoin charts right now. Let me know whether you're bullish or bearish. Give me your justifications for being bullish or bearish, what you're expecting, what you're buying right now, all those things. Leave them in the comments down below. I'm very curious to see them. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Go ahead and check out the exchanges. We've got 3 exchanges on this YouTube channel, okay? So obviously if you're buying and selling cryptocurrency, you need an exchange, and preferably you need a good exchange, okay? Because these are guys you're paying money in fees to, and you're also trusting them with your funds. So you need a good exchange, and that's why I've got 3 of them for you here, okay? BitGet, BingX, and Bitunix. They all fit different niches, and all those niches are described down below, and all my referral links are down below as well. With my referral links, you'll get a 15% trading fee discount on any of those exchanges that you pick. So use my links down below, get that discount, and get on a good exchange. We've also got the Crypto Academy's Become a Trader 10-unit course. We're running a bull market sale for a limited period of time. So get a discounted price, learn how to trade, get in that educational course. Now is the time to do it. And again, like I said at the start of the video, the VIP group on Telegram, it's there if you want it. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Catch you tomorrow. Cheers.